All right, let's just jump right in. What if I told you there's a piece of software, a new AI, that can predict the single most mysterious event in all of our lives? And no, this isn't something out of a sci-fi movie. This is a real technological breakthrough that's happening right now.
And this is the number that is sending shockwaves through the worlds of medicine and tech, 99.1%. That is the reported accuracy of this AI when it comes to predicting mortality. Just let that sink in for a second. That's a level of certainty that is, well, it's absolutely staggering, and if we're being honest, it's kind of terrifying. Which, of course, leads us to the biggest question of all. What would you even do with that kind of information? What would society do with it? See, this isn't a hypothetical anymore. It's a real question we all need to start thinking about, and fast.
So where did this thing even come from? Well, it was born out of a massive international study. Researchers fed an AI an incredible amount of data. We're talking 10 million life events from a huge pool of people. And not just medical records, everything. Bank transactions, even your phone's location data. And out of that sea of information, this powerful predictive algorithm emerged.
So what on earth does this mean for us? Is this the single greatest medical tool ever invented? Or have we just opened a Pandora's box of ethical nightmares? Well, two leading scientists who've been deep in this research fall on completely opposite sides. So let's break down their debate. Is this technology a gift or is it a curse?
First up, let's explore the optimistic side. The argument that this technology is nothing short of an incredible gift to humanity. You might even call it a medical crystal ball.
You see, the whole point here isn't to predict some fixed, unchangeable fate. No. The idea is that it gives us a heads up, a chance to see a potential future early enough to step in and actually change the outcome. It's a tool for prevention on a scale we've literally never seen before. So let me give you a concrete example of how this could work. A person suddenly starts buying a lot of antacids, which is unusual for them. To you or me, that means nothing. But the AI sees it, connects it with a dozen other tiny data points, and flags it. That flag leads to a doctor's visit, which leads to a diagnosis of early-stage stomach cancer. Caught just in time. A life potentially saved, all because of a simple transaction.
And that really gets to the heart of the difference. Your doctor is brilliant, right? But they can only work with the symptoms you tell them about and the tests they run. This AI, on the other hand, sees the whole picture. It can connect the dots between your phone's location data showing fewer gym visits, subtle changes in your grocery bill, and your past medical history to spot patterns that are completely invisible to any human.
So when you boil it all down, the argument for this being a gift is that it could kickstart a revolution in preventative medicine. We're talking about catching diseases before you even feel sick, getting a totally personalized risk profile, and maybe even getting rid of tragic mistakes in diagnosis.
But there is a very, very different way to look at all of this. Let's flip the coin and look at the argument that this exact same technology could be a curse, a kind of psychological prison.
The really chilling argument on this side is that just knowing could be an unbearable weight to carry. But the bigger fear? It's who else gets to have that knowledge. It's not just about you knowing. It's about what happens when your insurance company, or maybe your boss, knows too.
And this is what some are calling the data-to-discrimination pipeline. Your grocery data starts showing you're buying more junk food, boom, an insurance algorithm flags you and hikes your premium. Your phone shows you haven't been to the gym in a while, your employer's wellness program might flag you, and suddenly, that promotion you were up for disappears. Your everyday, seemingly innocent data becomes a weapon used against you. And if you zoom out, the potential damage to society is just immense. We're not just talking about the psychological burden on all of us. There's a real risk of creating a new kind of data-driven social class, a world where health insurance is a luxury only for the statistically healthy, and your private life is basically an open book for companies to analyze. It could fundamentally change our relationship with life itself. So we've seen the two extremes, a medical utopia on one side and a dystopian nightmare on the other. But how does this thing actually, work? Let's pop the hood for a second and try to demystify it. Probably the best way to think about it is like a master life detective. It's given millions and millions of clues from your life. A prescription you filled, a credit card swipe for lunch, a quick visit to the doctor, and its job is to connect all those seemingly random dots to solve the ultimate puzzle of your health. It really boils down to four main steps. First, it has to gather and merge all this data from totally separate places. And trust me, that alone is a massive technical challenge. Then, it processes every single event, a paycheck, the trip to the mall, almost like words in a sentence. The third step, well, this is the magic sauce. It identifies patterns.
The AI learns the hidden grammar of our lives, finding these subtle connections that no human could ever spot. And finally, based on all that learning, it calculates a statistical probability of what might happen next.
Look, the technology is here. We can't put the genie back in the bottle. So that brings us to the most important question. What do we do now? The future isn't just something that happens to us, it's something we build. So how do we regulate this revolution?
What's really interesting is that both scientists, the optimist and the skeptic, they actually agree that we need some serious guardrails. They're proposing things like a strict total ban on companies getting this data, then legally establishing that you own your personal data, not them. And finally, forcing these companies to be transparent and creating powerful ethics boards to watch over them. Of course, actually making those laws stick is a whole other story.
So this is where we're at. The code that will define our future is literally being written as we speak. This tech could save millions, or it could cause unimaginable harm. So the final question isn't if this tool will exist. The question is, who gets to hold the key? You? Your doctor? Some giant corporation? A government? That's the conversation we all need to be having, starting right now.